And that's kind of when everything started to change for me. I really started to get even more cynical when I saw how the sausage was made. It's bad behind the scenes. It really sucks. I was happy with private labeling, and I really felt like private labeling was my sweet spot. I didn't want to have my own brand. I liked selling to multiple brands. I thought that was cool. I liked being behind the scenes. I liked being the honest guy behind the scenes, selling you exactly what I thought was the best. These chemicals that I'd worked on with chemists and formulators and had this idea in my head, and then I put it out to this company and they took it and ran with it, multiple companies, and then they go to the moon. I'm like, wow, my theory works of like great liquids paired with great marketing makes an unstoppable brand. And I still hold true to that. Where I think Chemical Guys nailed it is they have a product for every problem. And so every problem, they have a solution. So what that does, the customers that know, like, and trust you, you have more solutions for them. You're getting more sales, but you're also at the same time helping your customers that already like you. I'm not gonna release a product just to release a product. I will not do that. And so that's why we send it out to get reverse engineered so that we can bring it back to the lab and we can kind of reevaluate, okay, where's the opportunity here? So I actually never wanted to. In fact, I was in my earlier videos very opposed to starting my own detailing line of products. It was never part of the vision to start my own detailing product line. But in this video, what I want to explain to you, or this podcast, if you're listening to it in that format, what I want to explain to you is why I decided to finally start my own detailing brand, what led to it, and then kind of, since we're at the start of 2025, what do I envision, because I'm a big visionary person, what do I envision 2025 to look like for my detailing product brand, and then why I think Chemical Guys actually got it right. So I want to talk about all that. But before we get into if I think Chemical Guys got it right or not, we need to go back to my origin story, which starts all the way back in 2008, early 2008, in fact, when I was working at a restaurant. And really my whole entire life, I just had this thing in me that I knew that I wanted to run my own business. I was going to own my own businesses. In fact, I was going to own multiple businesses one day. My only problem with that is I didn't know what business or what business is. You see, back in high school, we went to a party one night at this beautiful house, and the parents were at this house, and the house was just insane. And I, always had this weird thing that I would do, where I would ask people what they did for a living, right? Like, how do you afford this like amazing house? What do I need to do to have something this amazing in my life? And when I talked to the dad, his only response was, I own multiple businesses. And from that, I was about a sophomore in high school, and I'll never forget that moment, because it clicked in my head of like, I'm going to own multiple businesses, because if this is what owning multiple businesses gets you, this is what I want. And so I finished out the rest of high school, barely, having that thought of like, okay, that's the next rung on the ladder. That's the next step for me, is multiple businesses. I know, and always had the vision that I wanted to own my own business. And now it's multiple businesses. So that is kind of my North Star that I'm aiming for. Again, the only problem was my first jobs were working for people. I worked at In-N-Out Burger. I worked at a surf shop, and my last job was with a restaurant. And at the restaurant, I was working nights, so I had a lot of free time during the day, which I was supposed to be going to college. But I decided I didn't really want to go to college anymore. And so what I decided to do, or what had also transpired in that moment, is I got in a car accident. A lady hit me. They totaled my car, and I was getting a new car. And right around that time, I just started becoming, I don't know, call it OCD, call it whatever you want to call it. I just wanted my stuff clean. I was kind of, getting older and older and older, and realizing that taking care of your stuff is very important. And so I got a new car, and I thought, I'm going to start really taking care of this car. But I didn't know how. And this is, 2006, 2005. I don't know how to take care of my car. So I started researching it. I started looking on YouTube. And at the same time, I happened to have a buddy that was really into cleaning his own car. So we'd swap, tips and tricks and what products are you using for your tire shine. And, ooh, I like this one and I like that one. And back then, the information was very primitive and hard to find. And then it was basically just all auto parts store products that we were using at that time. But even then, something had kind of clicked in me of like, you know what? I think this could be a business. Is this a business? is this my first of multiple businesses that I want to start? Is this it? Is this it? And so I decided, what the heck? I'm 18 years old. It's 2008 now. I'm working at a restaurant. I got plenty of cash. Like, maybe I should start this business. And so what I decided to do was just ask the people that I thought maybe had money if they wanted their car detailed. And so that's what I did. And I thought the only people that probably had money were the managers at the restaurant, because I dealt with the servers and stuff like that. And I saw how they would tip me out as the busboy. So I kind of had what I thought a gauge of people that had money there or didn't have money. And so I just went to the managers and I said, hey, I'm starting this little side hustle. They thought it was a great idea. If anyone wants their car detailed, I'd be happy to do it. And one of the managers was like, I get my car detailed once a year. I would love for you to detail my car. And so I was like, perfect. How much do you pay? And I think she said something like $150. And I was like, oh my gosh, phenomenal. I'll match it. I'll do it. And so I did. I took that lady's car and I had Meguiar's paste wax, and I had no idea what, clay barring even was yet, but her paint was super rough and definitely needed a clay bar. But instead I used Meguiar's paste wax over all that contamination, which made for a nightmare. But cleaned the leather. Luckily, it was white on the outside, black on the inside, which I think is one of the best combos. But from there, I was like, wow, I made $150. I worked during the day. This was phenomenal. I was at home doing it. And I made like $80 that night at the restaurant. And I thought, man, I made more money during the day doing something that I liked doing than I did at night, and I didn't have to wear a uniform. Like, this is it. I think this is it. And so, as I do with these things, fortunately or unfortunately, I went all in. And so I started researching, and that's when I started to get on the forums a little bit and look at YouTube videos and all that. And from there, decided I'd be a mobile detailer, because obviously the barrier to entry is a lot less. So I did. Borrowed $5,000 from my dad, bought a trailer, and I was off to the races. I had my first business. This was, and I called it Jimbo's Auto Detailing, because what else do you call a business, right? Besides your own name. And so I thought it was clear. The name was exactly what I did, and got a vinyl wrap on this trailer. I found a trailer that was already all set up. So that was phenomenal, and literally bought it on a Tuesday. The next Wednesday, I was, doing my future in-laws cars. And from there, they had a neighbor. I'd worked up like a small menu. They had a neighbor that said, hey, you do detailing? I'm like, yeah, I do detailing. Of course, duh. Started this like last two days ago. And so from there, that was my first my second paying customer, I guess, would be a neighbor of my future in-laws. And I was just kind of off to the races and did it and loved it. I started getting clients all the time with a lot of things that I talk about right here on this podcast, going to Starbucks and having my trailer in the parking lot and the rig looking clean. I got tons and tons and tons of customers like that. I joined a BNI group, Business Networking International, got tons and tons of business from that, and really had a thriving mobile detailing business. What started to happen was I got married, started having kids, and realized, okay, now it's time to kind of scale this thing up. But in that, I realized I'm not really a good manager yet. I haven't really learned the ropes on how to manage people and be a leader in that capacity. And so I never could really figure out how to scale the mobile side, the mobile detailing business side of things. And so from there, I was looking at different avenues. After trying to hire a dozen people and it just not working out, or having someone for a little bit of time and not working out, I just decided, what, I got to figure something else out. And so what was also kind of running parallel at that time was I was doing a lot of fleet washes, a lot of basic detailing. And so it was becoming very repetitive and very monotonous because my goal was to have a office building or office park every day of the week. And so my schedule was kind of consistent. And so I had attained that. And so my schedule was consistent. And so it was just boring to, too long, didn't read. I was getting bored. And so that was right around the release of the iPhone. And so I started listening to audiobooks and podcasts. And when I started listening to a podcast, I realized, man, these people are making a lot of money. Like, this could be the internet and the whole online thing could be a real avenue to growth and scale without scaling with employees. This could be interesting. And so I was talking to someone one day and I thought, man, I'd really like to start a podcast. I just don't know what I'd start a podcast about. And the guy, Pete, who I still do the Detailer Inner Circle with all these years later, was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, just start a podcast about car detailing. And so I did. And I just started with my phone and started with like, hey, this is what I'm working on today, right? And realized that no one knows who I am. And so I need to interview other people. And I want to learn other things about detailing. And so in 2014, I started the podcast about car detailing. And that really kind of catapulted me into this like upper circle bubble of people that either put out content or are just kind of upper echelon detailers, right? And also product brands. And so in 2016, a car blender manufacturer, a private labeler called and said, hey, we want you to come work for us. We have this new brand that we want to start and we want you to kind of be the face of the brand. Okay, that sounds good, right? I had been detailing by that time for 8 years. I was kind of tired of it, looking for something different, started the podcast because of that, and then got hired by this, chemical manufacturer. And that's kind of when everything started to change for me. That's when I really started to get even more cynical when I saw how the sausage was made. Because before then, I was just getting kind of my products from a jobber, Coates Products, and they were great. They were awesome. They said they made their products there. Their products were priced incredibly good, and it was awesome, and I loved it, and they were nice, and everything was good. When I started working for the blender, that's when I started to definitely get a little bit jaded because I saw how these brands worked behind the scenes. And I was in those closed door meetings. And I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not trying to make it, I'm not trying to make it seem worse than it is. It's bad behind the scenes. It's really bad. It really sucks. And so I saw how the sausage was made. And once you see stuff, you can't unsee it. I also saw the kind of shenanigans that people do and brands play just for sales, which I completely understand. I understand it now. I'm definitely getting to a place where I respect it. I understand it. Still doesn't make it right. Still doesn't mean I like it. But that's really in 2016 is where like I start to get a little bit jaded because now I've interviewed these people, right? I'm in the podcast 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I've interviewed these people. I've talked to these brands. I've even brought people into the blender now, right? So that's where it started to get weird. I have connections of the podcast. Now I'm private labeling these brands of people that I've talked to on the podcast. And so I see them and I see them putting out their marketing claims. I see them putting out the products that I'm selling them as private label. And the conversations that I've had with them under, to give them and sell them a private label is completely different than the marketing claims that they're saying to the public. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm in these backdoor conversations where they're like, it doesn't matter. They'll believe it. Just say it. They'll believe it. It doesn't matter. Just change the SDS. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, whoa, like, are you kidding me right now? And this is when the ball starts to turn of like, oh my gosh, something I never really wanted to do, I might have to do because it's the only way to combat this craziness that's going on, in this industry for whatever reason. I still don't know why people have to lie about it. Still one of the, greatest, misunderstandings that I just don't know. And I was talking to someone about this. Is a little bit of a tangent, but I was talking to someone about it the other day of like a brand like Chemical Guys where they're just selling so much product. They're doing so good. And maybe that is the answer. They don't see they have a problem, but their chemicals, their liquids in the bottle are not that good. And so I just don't understand why. It's like, it doesn't have to be like that. They could have the best of the best chemicals and they could have a phenomenal brand, great liquids, and they would just be unbeatable. And instead everyone knows they choose to have subpar liquids in the bottle for whatever reason. It's cheap. They don't think they have a problem. I really have no idea, but it just boggles my mind. And so in 2000, whenever bead makers started getting really popular, the blender that I worked at couldn't, and they started their own brand, and I was kind of the face of it, but I was very uncomfortable being the face of it because I knew all this shenanigans behind the scenes, and I had an online platform that I was growing, and I'm like, I really don't want to tie myself to a brand that I don't own, even though they gave me a small percentage of sales and a salary and all that, which is funny because that's what we see with these other brands that are popping up lately. It's like a salary and a commission. which is something I had experience with in 2016, but I just never felt really comfortable with it. And so, but what really happened at the blender was Bead Maker was getting very popular. I was doing a lot of private labeling, and my customers were asking for a similar product to Bead Maker, and the blender couldn't make it. They could not figure out how to make it. And so I started, because I had other connections with the podcast, I started reaching out to people that I knew and said, hey, can you make me something similar to Bead Maker that I could sell to my clients? Because I am in sales. I am here to deliver for what my clients want. I make commission off all that. If I can't sell them the product they want and make commission off that, that stumps my growth. That doesn't work for me, because I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always kind of scheming, right? And so, but I was happy with private labeling, and I really felt like private labeling was my sweet spot. I didn't want to have my own brand. I liked selling to multiple brands. I thought that was cool. I liked being behind the scenes. I liked being the honest guy behind the scenes, selling you exactly what I thought was the best. And through all this, I started doing YouTube. And so I was growing a following on YouTube. And so through that, I got some really nice private label clients through that. And was able to kind of test out my theory through these other brands that I was private labeling for. And the theory was, if I sell you really good chemicals, like the best chemicals I can make that are, they're not extremely toxic for you. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to harm the car. They're just good, solid, quality liquids. And you pair that with unbelievable marketing and branding, what could happen? That was just my theory. And so I got a couple of these clients that could do that, and they went to the moon. They really went to the moon, especially during COVID. It was insane. And I was so proud, because these chemicals that I had worked on with chemists and formulators and had this idea in my head, and then I put it out to this company, and they took it and ran with it, multiple companies, and then they go to the moon. I'm like, wow, my theory works, of like, great liquids paired with great marketing makes an unstoppable brand. And I still hold true to that, right? Through that time, also got a big consulting gig with Turtle Wax as like a product consultant, telling them, what I thought about their blends and formulas that they were making, new product releases, mainly on a global scale, which was unbelievable to see, because now I had like, small local me. And then I worked for a local toll blender, I guess you could call them, private labeler, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. And then I worked for a global company. So we're talking about, India and Europe and Australia, China, the United States, Canada, Mexico, and then you're talking about, online, Walmart, auto parts. Like, I saw the gamut with that, right? And worked for them for a very long time, 5 years, I think it was. And so that was amazing. And so I had this well-rounded knowledge of everything in the industry now. I'd done everything. I'd worked as a mobile detailer, had a shop by that time, interviewed a ton of people in the industry, worked for a local small blender that grew double in size. That was also blending for the big players. And then worked for the big players, saw how that sausage is made, and really was extremely disappointed with the whole thing. And even more than that, I didn't have anything to show for, and I couldn't do podcasts like this. I couldn't talk like this about the things. And that was really since 2014 when I started this podcast, is what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to just talk about what I'm working on, what I'm trying to figure out, what I want to do. And so it was really at that time, as kind of the private labeling was still going, slowing down a little bit for some factors outside my control, which is basically what it all came down to, is I don't have any control over my income. I have relinquished that control to other people, either through private labeling or through consulting, which is great. And there's nothing wrong with it. To go back to my whole genesis, I want to own multiple businesses, and I am the business owner. I'm not an employee. And selling private label, I did have my own private label consultancy, and I still do. And I still sell private label chemicals, a lot of them. I still do that, still work behind the scenes. I still talk to people, help people build their brands. I still do that. But as my consultancy with Turtle Wax was kind of winding down and kind of the writing was on the wall with that, I finally was like, okay, I have never wanted to do this, but I feel like I have all the pieces of the puzzle and they're all scattered out, And all I need to do is put the puzzle together, and the time is perfect for me to put the pieces of the puzzle together and then grow my own product brand the way I see fit. Because I'd done torture tests, I'd done cheap versus expensive, I'd tested a ton of products, tested the claims on the bottle, seen them in the marketplace, seen them in pre-production, seen it in production, seen it launched, had them on the massive billboards at SEMA, right? The new technology at SEMA were the products that I supplied. I've had, Amazon brands go just through the roof, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80,000 reviews on Amazon with products that I directly was responsible for, and had my hand in, and were responsible for developing that product. And so I'd seen it, and I'd seen all the pieces of the puzzle, and it was just about putting it together finally for my own brand. And that's what is current day. So last February of 2024, I decided I'm going to launch my own product brand because I already have the proof. I already have products that I know work in the marketplace that I've developed. I had an idea of a water-based ceramic spray when no one had that. No one. They were all solvent-based. They all smelt up your whole shop. I had this idea, and that's the first product that I was like, man, if we can make this and water-based and not smell terrible, that'd be amazing. That was 2019. That was 6 years ago now. And so I was able to do that. I was able to work with the chemist and the formulator and develop that product out and create something awesome in that product. Now, I know it's the norm now, but it wasn't the norm 6 years ago. It was very innovative back then. And so I decided in 2014 or 2024, 10 years in, that it would be the right time to start my own product brand. And that's exactly what I did. Even for a time, worked for Adams Polishes for free at a couple trade shows, which was interesting, and really learned that trade shows aren't my thing. Even worked that in there. And so decided to launch with a couple products. I'm sure if you're familiar with my channel now, you'll see the product line, Jimbo's Detailing. And the reason why I called it Jimbo's Detailing was it was just a way to keep that name going, and kind of, it's the name that I originally started with in this space, is Jimbo's Auto Detailing. And so Jimbo's Detailing was just kind of, a very smooth transition into that. And so I grew the product line. I'm growing the product line, and that's what I'm doing now, is growing out the product line with very specific products that hit very specific needs, and focusing on what I think are the important things to grow a brand. And so I have very staunch opinions, if you haven't noticed that, on what I think makes a brand a brand. There's a lot of things that I see people doing wrong. There's probably a lot of things that people see me doing wrong. But the whole idea is behind creating my own brand is that I get to do it for me in the way I see fit. And also a big part, something I didn't mention, of kind of where I think that idea of like wanting to be my own boss, wanting to be my own, run my own business, was because when I was growing up, my parents ran their own business, and I saw the freedom and flexibility in that. But more than the freedom and flexibility, which I came to realize later about how cool that is, growing up, it was, I enjoyed hanging out at the shop, selling to customers, learning how to work the cash register, going and buying candy in bulk and breaking it down, and what that's like, and margin and discounts and traffic. And I enjoyed learning all that as a kid. And I thought, I want to give that to my kids. So as I'm working as a consultant, which is just working on the computer pretty much, then I filmed some YouTube videos. There was really nothing tangible that I was doing that my kids could see, Dad does this. And so a massive component and a massive driver to starting the Jimbo's Detailing brand was to be able to incorporate my kids and my family in this. And sometimes I show that, sometimes I don't. I'm a little weird about showing my family in videos and stuff like that. I don't love doing it. It's not really for the public to see, but I do show it from time to time. And for me, it's more so about getting the kids in here, teaching them how to tape a box, pack a box, what it's like to go to the manufacturer, what it's like to create inventory or calculate inventory, what it's like to order packing material, what it's like to unpack a pallet, what it's like to pack a pallet, what it's like to send stuff into Amazon. Kind of all the nuts and bolts behind the scenes of it is what I want to show my kids. tape the box, put the sticker on the box, order more stickers, kind of the nuts and bolts and the soup of it all, right, is what I enjoyed doing as a kid and what I want to give to my kids. So that's a big component of it as well. And so because I enjoyed that growing up, I feel like there's invaluable lessons that I learned, including being bored and not liking it. I mean, that's a lesson in and of itself of like, there's no daycare. We're going to the shop today. That's it, and you can figure it out at the shop with me. And so that's a big component. But so this year it's really been about building out the core line of products, or 2024 was really about building out the core line of products as I build the brand. So, obviously when you start, your brand is nothing. And this is something that I see a lot of other brands not doing, is building the brand alongside of the products. And so obviously having a character in there, that character is going to develop his own personality, making it fun, bright color products, clear bottles, good sprayers, and every part of the process for me, I'm very detail oriented about. And so I feel like that's important because user experience starts at inception. When someone lands on your website, for me, that's where it starts. So is the website easy to navigate? Is it easy to purchase, right? And then everything down to how are you packaging the products? Luckily for me, my dad has owned a pack and ship center for 20 years. And so I'm very well versed in box sizes, peanuts, paper, tape guns, all that kind of thing. And so that was incredibly helpful. But it's important if someone gets their package and it's damaged, that's unfortunate. If someone gets their package and it's not packaged right, that's part of the user experience, not just the liquids in the bottle, but everything about it. The label is another important aspect. So of course, the guy who designed the J logo helped me design the whole Jimbo's detailing line and the labels and all that. It's important to me. Custom, everything is custom formulas, custom font, custom labels. The boxes aren't custom, but everything for the most part that I could get custom, that I saw value, is custom. And so as we go into 2025, I really am looking to build the brand aspect. So I'm at a really good place with the liquids. There's no reason to oversaturate it. I think all my liquids are unique and different from anything that's in the marketplace, down to even the complete cabin cleaner. And I'm developing these videos, or developing these products on YouTube, which is going to be another massive part. For the first quarter of the year, I have a project, a liquid project that I'm going to be working on that I think is going to be the most transparent product development videos anyone has ever done. And I'm so excited for it. I'm kind of laying it out right now, but I think I'm going to introduce you to the formulator. We're going to mix samples together. We're going to test it out. We're going to take it slow, see if I can get it to where I want it. But I think the first quarter of the year is going to be very exciting for a new product that a new liquid that I do want to introduce. And so my plan is to slowly trickle out liquids that I see are needed in my line. Because, and this is where I talked about in the very beginning, where I think Chemical Guys may have got it right, is that they have a lot of products, and a lot of people don't like that they have a lot of products. I should say a lot of detailers. However, where I think Chemical Guys nailed it is they have a product for every problem. And so every problem, they have a solution. So what that does is the customers that know, like, and trust you, you have more solutions for them, right? And so you're getting more sales, but you're also at the same time helping your customers that already like you. And so that's what I'm starting to realize now is, like, I don't want to have redundant products, but I need to have enough products for every problem that someone may have, because customers that already know, like, and trust me are willing to purchase products that can solve a problem that they may have. And instead of sending them out somewhere else, I could sell them that solution, right? And so again, I don't want to have redundant products, but I think I have plenty of room to grow my product line. And I think for the first quarter of the year, the product that I'm working on or starting to work on, haven't even started it yet, just been in discussions with the formulator, making sure they're comfortable on camera. What can we show? What can we not show? There's a lot of behind the scenes things that chemists and formulators don't want to show, mainly because it's ugly. I mean, straight up, it's manufacturing is just ugly, right? And so that's a big job of brands, is to package something that's ugly and make it pretty and sell it, right? And that's where the money is. Anyway, so 2025 is going to be slowly trickling out more liquid products, not overdoing it, but really the main focus is on building the brand and what the Jimbo's Detailing brand stands for, and really cementing myself in the fact that these are the highest quality liquids possible. These are the latest technology. That's a big part. If I could just go off on a little tangent right now, a big part of what is happening in liquids is there's no technology. There's no advancements in it. And there's no advancements is because the brands are just stagnant in their ways. A perfect example of this is with the Complete Cabin Cleaner. When I developed and started putting out development videos for the Complete Cabin Cleaner, which is my latest release on YouTube, the number one product that people said would be like kind of the gold standard was the Koshchemi, I think it's Polestar, their interior cleaner. Great. So because I wanted to benchmark a product that I was creating versus the gold standard. And so if the gold standard, the majority of people that responded was this Koshchemi Polestar, let's do it. So my process, just to be totally transparent, is I buy whatever the gold standard is. I'll buy it. I try to use it, try to use the whole bottle. In my own head, I call it an empty bottle review, right? Because I think you can give a better review once you've used the product in every way. And I found that the Koshchemi Polestar is very, very good. It's very good. It's a great product, right? I can see why people love it. It's great. It foams great. It cleans great. Everything about it is really good. And so I go to the chemist, I go to the formulator, we send it to get reverse engineered. We look at the SDS, we look at the raw materials. We get a multi-page report back on exactly what is in the product from getting it reverse engineered. It costs us a few $1,000. And so, but we get a full report back on what is in the product, right? And so after we reverse engineer it, that's where we can find where the gaps may be that I can be different. And we did for the Complete Cabin Cleaner. For this example, we found that in Polestar by Koshchemi, they're using an older, I believe it's the surfactant, is an older surfactant. A little bit outdated technology. Still works phenomenal. Don't come at me. I think it's a great product. However, there have been advancements in that surfactant that would, how it translates is it would break down dirt quicker and easier, wipe it away easier. And what I talk about a lot is kind of the dust repellency aspect, that slight protection that's in the product. It does that at the same time. So with Polestar versus the Complete Cabin Cleaner, what I did was I said, okay, let's take Polestar as the foundation, as the base. That's what everyone likes. It's the gold standard, right? Let's take that and then let's just boost it up a little bit and let's use the new surfactant to break down dirt quicker, faster, and smoother. And it lays down a dust repelling property, 100%. So that is how I could take because I looked at it like, how much can you really change of an interior cleaner, right? There's not a whole bunch you could actually change to make it stand out. But is there anything in there that we can? Because here's the thing. I'm not going to release a product just to release a product. I will not do that. And so that's why we send it out to get reverse engineered so that we can bring it back to the lab and we can kind of reevaluate, okay, where's the opportunity here, right? It's almost like an after action review without doing any action. Right? We're just taking the gold standard and saying, okay, what does the chemist see from a chemistry standpoint that could be changed? Is there any new raw materials that we could interchange in there that would make it different, right? Does the formulator see any opportunities? Does the detailer see any opportunities? Because I like that Polestar foams. I like that you could dilute it 20-1. I like all those things about it. I like that it has a pleasant scent, right? I like all those things. And so what can we do to make it different? Instead of making a Me Too product or just a copycat product, how can we take the gold standard and up it one more? Because that's what I'm all about, making it better, right? And so the Complete Cabin Cleaner is just an example of that. But that is what I do with every single product. And so if I reverse engineer the gold standard, use that as a foundation and increase and improve that, because then I am the new gold standard. People aren't going to be disappointed when they try it. It's going to be even better than what they are used to and expected. And that's what I've seen at the formulators and at the blenders is they do the same old because that's what everyone's used to. And my whole thesis is that I don't want to do it like everyone else. I want to do it better than everyone else. I want my product brand better because the user experience, in my opinion, is the number one. And so if you have a better experience with my products, you are more likely to buy more products. And so I've seen other brands do it the opposite, where they don't care about the liquids. They don't care. They just want to sell water basically in a bottle. And I refuse to do that because I want my brand to be different, because honestly, I want it to be something that I use and that I'm proud of. At the end of the day, I am extremely proud of the Jimbo's Detailing line of products, and I want to be confident in them. I'm a user of them. I hand them out to my friends and family. I use them in my detailing business, and I want to be confident in the products. So everything from the scents of things that are not overpowering. Man, I bought some other interior cleaners that I just couldn't even get myself to do videos on because the smells were so bad. And so anyway, 2025 is going to be more of showing you how the sausage is made, showing you behind the scenes, showing you how products are made and what the options are. Hey, you can make this product cheaper, and this is what it'll be like. You can make this product more expensive, and that's what it'd be like. Because there's also that. You could go full tilt on products, but then your price would be so high on it that it wouldn't even work in the marketplace. You could also go so cheap that you kind of blend in and look like everyone else, right? And so the first product that I am going to really be doing this on and showing behind the scenes is I really want an all-in-one polish. I'm a big fan of 3D1. I think it's my ultimate. It's my gold standard. I know there's a lot of other compounds and polishes out there. But one of the first products I want to develop that I think would be perfectly sync inside the line is a one-step polish. And so more videos to come on that. And honestly, as we kind of round out this video, or as I kind of round out this video, I'm just so thankful for all the support that you guys have given the Jimbo's Detailing brand over this year. I'm excited to enter the second year of it. I'm just so grateful that it's such a nice feeling when you have a vision, you have something that you want to do, and then people rally behind you and support that vision, and then also are getting phenomenal results too. I mean, Toughest Shell is pushing 200 reviews on the website, which is just amazing. And a lot of the products have 80 reviews, 90 reviews, 100 reviews, which is just insane. So that's all thanks to you guys. Thanks for watching these videos. Thanks for kind of believing in the vision. Thanks for supporting the vision, because if you don't support it, the vision can't continue. And so I'm just forever grateful that you've entrusted me, especially coming as we kind of come full circle with this conversation, coming from where I think trust should be earned and trust should be proven. And in this space where brands specifically really take advantage of you, the consumer, which I think is just terrible. I really hate it. And so I'm setting out to combat that. So just know that when you support the Jimbo's Detailing brand, you're combating that being ripped off. That is where my cheap versus expensive videos came from. That is where my torture test came from, of trying to protect the consumer, trying to protect us with our hard-earned money. And so just know that is where my heart is on it. I know there's drama and beef in the detailing industry, but I'm letting all that go too in 2025. To solely focus on my brand, the Jimbo's Detailing brand, and getting my message out there and building my brand. Because I've built other brands. I've built other people's brands. I've given them the best of the best. Some have taken it, some haven't. Some still take it, and I'm appreciative of those people too. If you're a private label customer, thank you. But you know who you are. And so just know that I try my best every single day, just like you are out there detailing a car, having fun with your own car. You're trying your best, and you deserve the best products. You really do. And so I have it as my responsibility, my burden, if you will, to create the best products possible, so that when you're spending your hard-earned money on them, you're getting the result that you think you're getting, right? Or that you think you're going to get, and even exceed that. Right. So everything from Toughest Shell, the Super Soaper. I mean, the Super Soaper is another innovative product that, we kind of just built from the ground up, just from an idea. And so 2025 is going to be me starting with the idea, I want an all-in-one polish. That's what I want, because I have the Gloss Boss, because I think a scratch and swirl remover is important, because I think more DIYers are getting interested in polishing out their car. I think polishing a car sucks, and I think it sucks because the products suck. That's why I stick with 3D1. I think it's a very good product in most cases, right? And so if you have a gold standard, if you will, of one-step polishes, let me know in the comments below. And also in the comments below, like, let me know your detailing story. I love hearing people's detailing story. I love story time. Story time is my favorite. That's what my favorite part about the podcast is, hearing people's stories, because I think we learn from people's stories. So if you have a detailing story, please put it in the comments below. If you're listening to this as a podcast, which is my favorite way to create content, but if you're listening to this in a podcast, go over to the YouTube channel, go over to my YouTube channel. I'll link it below, and leave a comment with like your favorite detailing story, your first detailing memory. Was it with your dad? Was it with your mom? Was it by yourself? Was it, when you were down and out and you found car detailing? Was it after you had your first kid or your last kid, or, God forbid, a passing of a kid or a passing of a grandma or whatever? I want to hear your detailing story too. So make sure you leave that in the comments below. But before I start crying and getting all soapy, emotional, because I'm just so proud of this brand and so thankful for your guys' commitment to the brand. Honestly, I obviously wouldn't be anything without your guys' support. So I really, really appreciate that. So to more and more, but I really wanted to get that video out there of like why I started my product brand. And it was not because I always desired to. My real desire, my real vision, to be honest, is to own car washes. That's where it was. And detailing and mobile car washing was where I started to get money to figure out how to own the car wash. So that's my long-term vision, is owning the car wash. All this in-between stuff is just building up to owning the car wash, which now that I have the Jimbo's line of products, it's just the next rung. And so the final rung in my life story will be owning multiple car washes. That's where this will wrap up with. But what's super exciting now about having a following is I get to show you guys that whole process. The whole process I get to show you. And so the next rung is just the Jimbo's detailing line of products. That is my mission currently, is to build that out, and that will lead to multiple car washes. And so as I kind of vision the future on car washes and what that may look like and how I could bring you guys in on that, it's many, 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 many years down the line. So right now I'm just focused on the product line. But yeah, with that, thank you guys for listening to me ranting for however long I ranted for. I love this stuff. I'm passionate about it. It's all I work on every day. I'm so excited to have the Jimbo's line of products, and I'm so excited to get the Jimbo's line of products in your guys' hands. It's an unbelievable feeling. It's very surreal, and I'm even more grateful for the dire, loyal fans that I've, are on my side and just, talk about Jimbo's detailing in the forums and bought it as Christmas presents. It's insane. And I'm so thankful for that. I still view myself as just a single man mobile detailer in Southern California that no one knows, And so, I'm incredibly grateful. So with that, thank you guys. I will catch you on the next video. I'm so excited to show you what I have in store for 2025. I think you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. Bringing you really behind the scenes, which is my favorite thing to do. And so subscribe if you haven't, so you can be first alerted of all those videos. But I think content is changing. I'm excited to change with it, and I'm excited to show you how I grow this Jimbo's detailing brand. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. To many more videos. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.